Okay, first of all, the US is in an absolutely crazy situation. I mean, have you guys seen the US presidential debate? What in the absolute world is going on? The thing is, so much has been happening in the past 24 hours though that it's almost being overshadowed. One of the things that was quite interesting was that Indodex was just hacked for $22 million. So if you've been using that, you might want to check up on your money. To be honest, I've never heard of anybody using this platform, but I guess that's because it's more known in Indonesia, and I'm still looking out for the people that are, watching from Indonesia. Check it out. All right, then something that I did not expect to cover. I thought this was quite peculiar. I didn't even know that Sony had an Ethereum layer 2. Let's put that first. But then knowing that they do, which, okay, is interesting. Apparently it's called Sonium. Interesting on the name. They'll introduce a Japanese yen stablecoin. What? In collaboration with Sony Bank. What? Like, what? Very interesting statement. Again, I didn't know any of this was going on, and so it's really peculiar to me that they're launching a Japanese yen stablecoin. And by the way, I believe the yen is doing really well against the dollar as we speak. I saw some people post about that a little bit earlier, which brings up the next point. US and the US politics are one crazy thing. So Tyler Winklevoss, he is the guy behind Gemini, massive crypto exchange. He said Elizabeth Warren's last campaign email couldn't be more dishonest. She claims the crypto industry is upset because she called for fair regulations, when she's been waging an unlawful war against it and the 50 million Americans who own crypto. Vote for John Dean to end this madness. And again, in the email at Warren for Senate, because they're upset, I've called for fair regulations around the industry that protect working people. So obviously that's crazy. That's like crazy, the gaslighting that's going on right there. No. They're angry with me because I'm trying to protect the people. And that's kind of what Gary Gensler also has been saying a lot of the time. Obviously, that's very far from the truth, as they've literally been trying to destroy our industry. I mean, she's not the most crazy, though, in terms of this gaslighting that you're always right. You know, Jim Cramer, some of you guys will know him, some of you guys won't. Well, what he's always been up to is calling for the exact wrong thing. All right, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you. A little bit ago, on June 14th, 2022, he stated, oil is not going down. And at the time, it might have not seemed like a crazy statement. But you want to know the fun fact? Over the next year and 2 years and a bit, actually, WTI crude falls 5% to lowest level since May 2023. You can see how the price has fared since he proclaimed this. It is down from, let's say, 120 or whatever, right now to 65. So within this 2-year time span, he could have almost been no more wrong. And this is known as the Cramer curse, where whenever he shouts out that something's going to happen, you should wait for the exact opposite. Also, something rather funny has been happening with BlackRock. We all know that BlackRock started selling a bit of Bitcoin quite recently. People got scared over that, but I'm not, because it doesn't really matter, though that's how ETFs work. But did you know that BlackRock owns a black rock and a white rock? Because just now, some people sent them over some black rock and some white rock. What can you do with this information? Absolutely nothing. So, yeah. What's perhaps more interesting is that Fidelity, their ETF has been selling hard the last 2 weeks, nonstop, matter of fact. And then again, just 2 days ago, they had inflows for the first time. You didn't sell them your coins, did you? Because again, it's seasonal, it's cyclical, it's not going to last. If these ETFs are selling, it's because it's the usual flow of things, but I personally don't believe that this was it for the ETFs. I think it's just a start. And since this was one of the most successful ETFs to date, I believe some outflows are logical, like all the ETF analysts have said. And again, I'll state it time and time again that you are, I can't say being manipulated, but I can say that you're witnessing one of those events where if you just hold on long enough, you'll be completely fine. It is only if you start looking at the short term that things might get scary. And talking about that short term, like I was already describing to you guys yesterday, we do have ourselves let's quickly go to impact. There we go. We do have ourselves the US inflation numbers coming out today within, just some hours. If you're wondering about the exact time, let me quickly find it. So it's going to be 2:30 p.m. on UTC2. You can just check for yourself. It's obviously going to be 12:30 UTC. I'm going to post this video as soon as it's ready. So you'll probably still have like 3 or so hours, maybe 5 or so hours, I don't know, before the inflation numbers come out. And as I described, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, this might be pretty crucial for all our prices. I'm just letting that out there. It usually is quite volatile for all the cryptos. I'm not saying we're going to pump like crazy, not saying we're going to dump, but usually brings some volatility with it. Talking about that though, I want to put some people's expectations, straight. For example, I've seen many people quote in my comment section saying, XRP has to go to $100 in 2025 for it to be worth it. Or Bitcoin needs to go to 660,000, yada, yada, yada. I've made many videos before talking about my honest price predictions, and I'll do one more. So for Bitcoin, my honest expectation this cycle, and that's been, again, between a year or so, is that I think, again, my honest thoughts, it's going to go to about 150,000. But let's just say between 100,000, because I think we're going to touch that, if not slightly below, let's say 97 to 230. And that basically just means I think we're at least going to double from here. But depending on how crazy it gets, we could quadruple from here. I don't think it's going to be 300,000. I think that's too far-fetched. But it could, but that's, again, just like saying we could also stop at 80. It's possible, but not so likely. With Ethereum, I think we are going to get close to $9,000, $10,000, between the $9,000 and $12,000 range. BNB, I think, will not do as well this run, but I guess perhaps if CZ comes out, could still go absolutely massive. The thing is, though, I think BNB is an almost guaranteed success, but just the amount of price it will gather might not be that crazy. But I think since Binance is still in the lead, they'll keep doing well. Solana is one of the most controversial ones, but again, I do believe $800 to $1,000 is not that crazy. With XRP, I've stated it many times, I think $10, $12 is very easy to achieve. And again, that's because the main thing keeping us back is probably around $1. But the moment we do cross that, I do believe things can go quite quickly. Just like how in previous runs, Bitcoin did really well and XRP was left behind for the end, until the end basically, until all of a sudden it started taking over. I believe something similar could happen here. Again, many of these other coins, though, will still go back to their all-time highs, which are still 95% away. So for many of these, a 10x would just be enough to bring it back to its all-time high. And then from there, it probably has to do another 4 or so x to kind of comply with the bull run, because most coins will do that. So for many of these coins that are down like 95%, a 30, 40x within a run is not that crazy. And realize, guys, for example, some coins like SUI here, you know that they were $2 a couple months ago. They went to 50 cents a couple weeks ago, and now back at $1. You understand that if it just goes back to the prices of a few months back, it's at $2. But that over a run, it should still do a 4x of whatever it was at previously, over the bigger bull run. Render, I believe, can do some massive numbers still, but again, it's down like 65% or so from its all-time high. Tau is down 65%. So it has to go back to those numbers and then again do another 4x or so, at the least, in my opinion. And there's so many coins that I'm so excited about. But yeah, I just want you guys to realize it's a waiting game, but once it cracks open, it's going to be fast, but it's just waiting for that event to happen. $725 billion asset manager Bernstein says that if Donald Trump is reelected president, Bitcoin may reach 90,000. I think 90,000 is quite on the low end of all things, to be honest with you. And again, I think most people are just forgetting that the cycle always works in a similar fashion. Think about it from like a few years into the future. Michael Saylor, for example, says $13 million is coming. You can't fully trust him. He's quite biased with his predictions. What we can say, though, is that, again, if you really start looking into what cryptocurrency is all about, it does make sense for these crazy gains. It really does. So whoever's denying it probably doesn't know what they're investing into too much. But hey, those are just my thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on it. And hopefully, I'll see you guys again in another one somewhere later today. Also, make sure you're doing the Discord. If you haven't done it yet, link is down below. And that's about it.